So, I want to talk about what's happening spiritually when you go to psychics, also how demons can influence your thoughts, um, and how I learned that. So basically, I used to be a psychic when I was a witch. I had several clients, and I'm going to just start out by saying that I think a lot of psychics do have good intentions. I don't think they all know that they are talking to demons. I think they genuinely do think they are talking to your dead relative and helping you to get closure. And I think that's the motivation for a lot of psychics. And I don't think they think it's a demon giving them that ability. I think they think it's their own ability because a lot of, especially mediums that are really talented in that world, started as a child being able to have these abilities. And I think it's a God-given talent to be able to see spiritually, to be able to predict spiritually. We have prophesiers, we have seers in the church. Now, what is the difference between a prophesizer and a seer in the church and a psychic? And where is the power coming from is the main difference. So a prophesizer and a seer is getting their information only from God. Only from God. That is the biggest difference. The psychic and the medium is illegally accessing the spirit realm. And I do think God has appointed gifts on all of us when we are born. And some of us, right, let's say you are someone who can see in the spiritual realm, or you are someone who is a seer. Well, you grow up in this world that is so evil and you see psychics. That's what you see. You see more psychics than you see seers when you're growing up. So you think, I must be psychic. I have the same ability as them. That's not necessarily true. If it's a God-given talent, you were meant to be a prophesizer and a seer. You were not meant to be a psychic. Because once you decide to go down the road of a psychic, you are now illegally accessing the spirit realm. You're getting your information from demons. You're opening up your talent for any entity to be able to use it, to tell the future, to, whatever the case may be. You're letting other entities use your God-given talent, right? And that's what they want the most. Now, here's what happens spiritually when psychics and mediums are doing their thing. So a lot of the times psychics and mediums are very accurate, and I'll just go ahead and admit that they're very accurate. But here's how they're accurate. So basically, let's say you and your grandma are in a bedroom having a private conversation that no one else has heard and no one else knows about, right? She's telling you about her rocking chair, she's giving you an heirloom, and your grandma passes away. Now, when your grandma passes away, you decide to go to a psychic to get some closure. What is happening spiritually in the spiritual realm is that there are constantly demons around you, okay? Constantly flying around. Same thing with angels. They're always around. It's a very busy spiritual realm, okay? And these demons, maybe they've been with you in your family, maybe they've, whatever. They were in the room with you when you and your grandma were talking about X, Y, and Z. Then when you decide to go to a psychic, the demon will then go to the psychic and tell the psychic about your conversation. And the psychic will then repeat it. Then you think you're talking to your dead grandma. The psychic thinks that you're talking to your dead grandma, and boom. You know what I mean? Then you trust the psychic. You keep going back to the psychic to get more answers. Whole time, it's just the demon. Now, when we're talking about demons predicting the future, this is something I kind of want to touch on, because a lot of the times psychics can accurately tell the future. How can they do that, right? So the idea of time is different in the spiritual realm. It's a lot different than it is for us humans on Earth. And demons can see not the future. They're not all powerful and all knowing like God is. Do not ever get that mixed up. But to a certain extent, they are able to see into the future. I want to say maybe a few months ahead, maybe even up to a year. I'm not really sure. But time also works differently. How they view time on that side of the veil is a lot different than how our linear time works here on Earth. So, there are times when they can predict the most likely path that you will go to, right? Maybe they've overheard conversations that you don't know about. Maybe they have seen you break up and get back together with your boyfriend 50 million times. So they're predicting that you will get back with your boyfriend at this date because they've heard your ex-boyfriend talking about wanting to get back with you. They've heard conversations about you talking about wanting to get back together. And that's how they kind of put the pieces together and give you a timeline. right? That's how psychics and mediums get their accuracy, right? So how does this translate to how demons can talk to us and influence us in our ears? Well, it's the same thing with psychics. When you're a psychic, you do not hear a demon whispering to you, giving you all this information. It's usually a just straight download of information. For example, little Tommy came to me for a psychic reading, and little Tommy is going through a breakup. Well, I'm not going through a breakup. I am in a loving, committed relationship. So when I'm, asking whatever spirit the psychic is working with, when they're like, oh, tell me, what's going on in little Tommy's life, little Tommy, the demon is going to put a little nugget of information in my brain, just drop it like it's my own thoughts. Like it's my own thoughts. It's going to sound just like my own thoughts. Drop it in my brain that about a breakup, about a really violent breakup, a really turbulent breakup, or say that he is going through a breakup. They'll start putting breakup in my mind, right? And I know I'm not going through a breakup. I'm in a loving, committed relationship. So I just relay that information to little Tommy. Little Tommy is like, oh my gosh, you were right. I am going through a breakup, blah, blah, blah. So that's how demons work. They're able to talk in not a physical mouth way, but in a whisper, you think it's your own thoughts type of ways. Now that translates to Christians as well. If you are thinking of, watching corn, if you are thinking about how angry your ex-boyfriend made you, and you just get these thoughts, and they keep kind of popping up, us as Christians, well, me as a Christian, I like to try and push those thoughts away, no, I don't even want to think about it, whatever, just try to distract myself. But they keep coming, and they keep no, you need to think about how he did you so dirty. I'm no, I already forgave him. I'm past this. Why is this being brought up in my mind all of a sudden? Why am I thinking about this event that happened during our relationship that made me mad? 9 times out of 10, something is right there next to your ear pushing that thought. Now, demons cannot read your thoughts. They can't read your thoughts, but they will try to influence them, and they will try to get into to tell you. So usually when this happens to me and they're tempting me to be angry at someone, or tempting me to do something I shouldn't be doing, oh, just have a couple drinks, it'll be fine, or just watch corn, it'll be fine, or just bringing up things that my ex-boyfriend did to make me angry, I automatically know those are not my thoughts. That's not how I function anymore. I am a new creation under Christ. I know that I would not normally be thinking of that. So it takes a lot of coming into tune with yourself as well, knowing what you would think versus what something outside of you would necessarily think. And all of our thoughts are not our own. And so it's really important to I just start rebuking. I just start rebuking right out the bat. I go, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Leave me alone. Go to hell. Literally go to hell. I chain you to the feet of Jesus. Get away from me. Whatever. I just start rebuking. And then I remind God, for example, the ex-boyfriend thing. I'll be no, God, Lord, I have forgiven him. Please take any leftover seeds of bitterness or unforgiveness in my heart away. I have forgiven him. I've forgiven him. And I rebuke you, enemy, in the name of Jesus, blah, blah, blah. And then, I fight. I go to war. I think it's all about going to war. You're constantly going to have to go to war. It's something that either you're built for or you're not built for. Are you a soldier or you're not a soldier? You know what I mean? So it's something you constantly have to go to war about. But there are definitely beings that will whisper in your ear, try to influence your thoughts. It's up to you whether or not you participate in those thoughts. But demons can see if you do participate in those thoughts. If you start letting those thoughts really eat you alive, and they see your face twist up in anger, they know that they got to you. And then they can sometimes, because of how your thoughts, you gave into those thoughts, they can go to that other person and they can start attacking that other person only because you let them in. It's a whole intricate thing that I can go more into how that impacts the other person. But yeah, so that's how demons can influence your thoughts. That's how psychics are usually accurate, or can tell the future correctly. There are demons in the room with you. Constantly be on guard, right? They prowl around like a lion looking for someone to devour, and your thoughts are not your own.